Hi, welcome to Gary's Urban Larder. Today we're making a tarte tatin with a twist. It is peach season and I have some beautiful fresh peaches that we're going to use to make a peach tarte tatin. Hopefully everything turns out okay. Let's get started. Before we start, just a reminder, please subscribe to the channel and give us a like and share this video with your friends and help build the community. The first thing we're going to do is make our pastry, and we're making a rough puff rather than using a puff pastry that you can get in a store, or you can make by hand if you want to go through that much effort. We have simple ingredients. We have flour, some sea salt, and some very cold butter and some ice water standing by. And really that's it. And remember, you'll find the link in the description box to my website, garysurbanlarder.com, where you'll find the full list of ingredients and the recipe. Okay, let's get our salt. We need about half a teaspoon, and I'm just going to combine that quickly into what's a cup and a half of all-purpose flour, and in goes our very, very cold butter, and it's cubed. Now we're not going to rub it in, but we want to just dust those with the flour in our flour. So I'm just tossing those, and then we're going to turn that out onto our clean countertop, and I'm going to add a little ice water, a bit at a time, and just start to work that pastry until it comes together. And we want to push some of that butter so that it becomes little shards, the striations. Just like that, just with our thumb. Adding our water little by little until we have a dough. And that really is how simple it is to do this. A little more water, up to about a half a cup of your ice water. You can see as that starts to hydrate, that just comes together. Unlike with another type of pastry or say biscuits, we want these large bits of butter stay in the flour. Okay, bit more water, and once we have this into our dough, we are going to chill it again to keep that butter nice and solid, because that's what's going to melt away and give us our puff in our rough puff pastry. There. Just want you to be able to see that we have big pieces of our butter left in this dough. And we're going to put it back in our bowl. We're going to cover it and we're going to chill it until we're ready to roll it out. Now it's time to get on with our peaches, and we're going to just blanch these quickly in some simmering water. First, we want to make an X in the bottom of each one, which I've done with the others. We've got our sugar, which is going to make our caramel, some lemon juice, and we've got 5 tablespoons of butter for the caramel and a pinch of salt. So we'll just go ahead and blanch these, then we'll peel them. After we've peeled them, we'll come back and we'll start to put our folds into our rough puff. We have our boiling water. You've got our ice bath standing by. And we're just going to go ahead and plop in our peaches. They really only need a few seconds. In they go. And once they have just begun to poach, we're going to bring them out and put them into our ice bath. And that is really how simple it is to get our peaches ready. I've got 6 really nice, beautiful peaches. And the last one. Okay, we've got a lightly floured surface. And we're just going to push our rough puff into a rectangle. And then we're going to book it by folding a third in from the top and a third in from the bottom. And we're going to roll that. Just so that's flat. Back to a rectangular shape, basically. And then we're going to do it once more the opposite way. You see our line? So, third from the top, a third from the bottom, and you can see bits of the butter in there. And we're just going to roll that to get that a bit flatter. So those are our first 2 books for our rough puff. And I'm just going to pre-fold this now, and I'm going to chill it again. So it goes back into our bowl, put on our lid, and back into our fridge, ready for the next one. And it's time to do our final booking of our rough pastry, our rough puff. Just take that seam, roll it out, into a rough rectangle, 90 degrees to the seam, fold down the top, dust off any excess flour, fold up the bottom, and roll that together. And there's the reason you want to avoid flour. It doesn't like to stay closed. So again, brush off that excess, up, roll that together. Final time. Again, you want to look for those bits of butter that are dotted in there. And one last chill, soft fold it back into our bowl, back into our fridge for about 20 minutes. While our dough is chilling, I'm going to go on and I've peeled our peaches. I'm going to stone them. There we go. And I'm just going to cut each half in half to give us some nice wedges. So we'll just continue to do that. Any skin that, like in the butt of the peach, hasn't come out, we can pull off. So we put our thumbs right at the top of that and then pull out our stone. And again, just halve each halve and back into our bowl. So we'll get those done, then we'll start on our caramel. Now we're going to make our caramel. So I want to add our sugar to this cast iron pan. I'm just going to shake it to spread it out. And then I'm going to leave it alone and let it melt. I've got it on a medium heat, And you can see it's starting to melt already. So as soon as it melts, I'll give it a swirl, and then we'll start to add our butter, followed by our salt and our lemon juice. It's that simple. You just want to start to swirl that until that sugar melts. As soon as that's liquid, then we're going to turn down the heat and we'll start to add our butter. I'm adding 5 tablespoons of unsalted butter, just a bit at a time. As that melts, we add a bit more. We want to preheat the oven to 400 degrees Fahrenheit. There we have our caramel for our peach tart tatin, and it's very, very, very hot. So we want to be careful when we lay in our peaches. And those will start to cook. I'm going to get those in there as tightly as we can. Again, being very, very careful about that hot sugar. We're going to let that cook for 8 to 12 minutes, just to soften up those peaches a bit. And when our oven is at full temperature, 400, we're going to pop it in the oven for 30 to 40 minutes. Now it's time to do the final rollout for our pastry. And that's our chilled pastry. Now we're going to just roll that out to top our tartan. We have our pastry, rough rectangle, and we're going to just put that on our iron skillet over our fruit, and we'll bring in the edges, and in that will go into our hot oven. Our peaches have been cooking for about 8 to 10 minutes, and we're just going to add our pastry on top. We're just going to pull in the sides just to cover it, just so it fits in the pan. And that is ready to go into our 400 degree Fahrenheit, 200 Celsius oven for 30 to 40 minutes. And our peach Tarte Tatin has come out of the oven. It's beautiful and bubbly around the edges. Our rough puff has puffed. We're going to let this set here for 5 minutes before we turn it out. Our 5 minutes has passed, and now we're going to try and turn this out without making too big of a mess. Got our plate. I'll fit over the top. I'm using a cloth. And we're just going to flip this over. Keep all of it together, hopefully. 1, 2, 3. And we want to let that set just a little while. I see we've got a little caramel coming out around the edges. That's okay. Let's see. Oh, that is beautiful. Look at that. We've got a little bit of shift of our fruit, but we can fix that easily. Look at that. We're going to let this cool just a little while to make sure all of that can set before we slice it and give it a taste. Okay, now our pie has had a chance to set. Oh, that that looks fantastic. Oh, the fruit is nice and soft. Let's make sure we can get that out. Oh my goodness. Look at that. Our plate. On our plate it goes. Get a little more of that caramel. Now, one final thing to add to this before we taste it. That's a crack of black pepper. Just a little bit. Just a little bit. And a scoop of ice cream. Vanilla ice cream. And that is it. That is our peach Tarte Tatin. The only thing left to do now is to taste it. Oh my goodness. That is absolutely incredible. Delicious. The pastry is nice and flaky. The fruit is soft and sweet. You get just a hint of lemon and the slight bitterness of that caramel. Well, thank you for joining me today at Gary's Urban Larder. If you enjoyed today's recipe, please give us a thumbs up. Remember to subscribe to the channel, it's free, and ring that notification bell so you don't miss a single delicious recipe. And finally, please share this video with your friends. It helps the community to grow. And if you see a hype button, please hype me. It really does help the channel out. Well, until next time, bye-bye. I'm finishing my Tarte Tatin